Welcome, my virtual students and anyone not here on Tuesday to Chapter 7, Day 9. So we have made it to the final day of our chapter. As you guys can see, we have made it to our review. And Chapter 7 has been a big one. It's involved, in particular, mostly right triangles, but we've talked about congruency, we've talked about similarity. But at the heart, like I said, this has been all about right triangles. If I could sum up this entire chapter. And also, I'll put an and, radicals. Breaking down square roots has been another biggie. So because this is a review, guys, I'm going to be putting this video on YouTube. And that should help you guys be able to better pause and work things through. Because today is going to be a pause-heavy day, which is why hopefully this being a YouTube video will help you tremendously. And so what's going to happen is, with each section, I'm going to introduce it, talk about what day it's from, let you all try it and work on it, and then come back and we'll work through some, we'll talk about it, and we'll see kind of how you guys are doing. So for example, number 1, this is a day 8. This should look hopefully pretty familiar to you guys. We did this last Thursday. And so what these two are asking is, what additional information do you need to prove that the following triangles are congruent based off the theorems that they're saying we would use here to solve? So take a minute or two, guys, and label. You can just draw an arrow, circle, or just write, what's the one thing we're still missing to prove that these two triangles are congruent? And to prove these two triangles are congruent based off what they think we should use. You can go ahead and pause. So on number 1, we know we have congruent legs, but we need congruent hypotenuses if we're going to use hypotenuse leg. Over here, we know the hypotenuses are equal because this is the same leg, but if we're going to use the leg, we need a leg. We need a congruent leg here. All right. Next one. I'm going to give you guys a chance to determine if the following pairs are congruent. And if yes, state the reason. So state one of our 4 options here. And remember, look for vertical angles, look for shared sides. So guys, go ahead and try 3, 4, 5, and 6 for me. You can go ahead and try these. By the way, this is from day 8 also. So you can pause. Okay, so we have the hypotenuse and we have an angle. We have a leg, and then we have another leg that they share. We have the hypotenuse, which again, if you're not sure, it's always across from the right angle. And we have a leg that are congruent. And then here, we have a leg and an angle, and we actually have this angle too. So you could go angle side here if you really wanted to, but yep, leg angle. So then down here, guys, to finish up the day 8 first page, this whole first page has been all day 8. This was actually the last problem we did yesterday. We want to be able to find missing sides, and we want to assume that the triangles are right triangles, we can see that, and are congruent to one another by the HL theorem. So if we are assuming they're congruent, then that means this hypotenuse is congruent, and this leg and this leg. Or you could have said this leg and this leg are congruent. Doesn't matter. Now, the hypotenuses are already labeled. The triangle labeled with the hypotenuse labeled x has a leg that is x minus 4 units long. So that would be right here, x minus 4. The corresponding leg in the triangle with the hypotenuse labeled 2y is going to be the length of y plus 8. See that there? Okay. So we see those there. And we need to find what x is and find what y is. So the secret to this one is we want to set up, if you remember from Thursday, we want to set up a system of equations. So we know that if these are congruent, then x is going to equal 2y, and x minus 4 is going to equal y plus 8. And so then, from here, guys, I'm going to let you see if you can take it the rest of the way. We're going to be using the substitution method. Let's go ahead, guys. Let's see what you can do. Go ahead and pause and work it out. Okay, so we substitute 2y in for x in this equation. Work it out. You get y equals 12. Subtract y over, add 4 over. Once you find that, you can plug that back in to our top equation. 2 times 12 is 24 for x. So there's our x and y. So now, on to page number 2. This one, we're actually getting away from day 8, if you can believe it. This is a day 5 problem. And you guys may remember this one. We've dropped an altitude from the right angle to the hypotenuse. And we want to know what is our altitude. And then if this is a right angle, we know this is our height, which means y, let's call y leg 1. Let's call z leg 2. Make that a cursive L so we don't get them confused. Well, if this is leg 1 and that's leg 2, that's going to make this part 1 of our hypotenuse, and this part 2 of our hypotenuse. And if you need these formulas, guys, as I write them, you can pause the video. Altitude formula, if you need it, is going to be, you can tell I gave you plenty of room here. It's going to be part 1 over the altitude equals the altitude over part 2. And if you want to find a leg, the leg formula is the adjacent part, so the part beside whatever leg you're trying to find, over the leg you're trying to find, equals that same leg over the whole hypotenuse. And so, guys, you can go ahead and pause. You can pause our video. And let's see if you can find x, y, and z. Go ahead. Okay. So you guys know my method. When I cross multiply using these formulas, I always like to look for perfect squares. Unfortunately, 30 and 40 aren't perfect squares. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply them together. So this is me trying to find my altitude. Well, now 1200. Let's look at our perfect squares here. I know obviously some of the smaller ones are going to work, but we want to look big. 100 will for sure work. But let's go even bigger than that. So no. Ooh, what about 400? Let's try it. 1200 divided by 400. Yeah, that goes in 3 times. So we could say square root of 400 times 3. Take the square root of 400, and that is 20. Square root of 3. Now for leg 1, we see that we've got 2100 is our number, because again 30 and 70 are not perfect squares, but I'll look and I'll say okay, doubt it's going to be any of these. 400, not 400 won't go into 2100. No. How about 100? So 2100 divided by 100, 21 times. That's perfect, because 21 can't be broken down by any more perfect squares. So we can say, okay, y is going to equal the square root of 100 times 21. Take the square root of 100, and that would be 10. And again, we know this is right because the square root of 21 won't break down. Yeah, we know we got the right answer because that won't break down. Nice. Try leg 2 if you haven't already, guys. If you haven't, go ahead and pause and try leg 2. So I found 400 yet again. We'll go into 2800 7 times. Square root of 400 is 20 times the square root of 7. Nice work, guys. So this will be the end of video 1. And I will see you guys back on part 2 on page 3. See you soon.